Cannabis Stigmas Abolished, in depth with me, Shiva Wilson. Here are two cannabis stigmas just awaiting to be abolished. 1. Weed causes cancer. And 2. It's possible to fatally overdose on cannabis. So let's look at the first one first. Does weed really cause cancer? Well, there's been mixed research findings. The relationship between cannabis use and cancer is complex and not entirely understood. Some studies have shown potential associations between heavy, long-term use of cannabis, especially when smoked, and certain types of cancer, while other studies have found no significant link. For example, research has suggested that the increased risk of lung cancer associated with smoking cannabis may not be as high as the risk from tobacco, but more research is needed. Cannabinoids and cancer. There is emerging research indicating that cannabinoids, the active compounds in cannabis, may have anti-cancer properties. Certain studies have suggested that cannabinoids can inhibit tumor growth, induce apoptosis, programmed cell death, in cancer cells, and reduce the spread of cancer. Lack of causation evidence. In terms of causation, definitive evidence linking casual cannabis use to cancer is still lacking, especially in moderative usage. More comprehensive studies are required to draw firm conclusions. And now, the second cannabis stigma. Number 2. It's possible to overdose on cannabis, causing death. Lethal dose and overdose. While it is technically possible to consume a very high amount of cannabis, cannabis is not considered to be lethal in the same way as many other substances. Estimates of the lethal dose of THC, the primary psychoactive compound in cannabis, suggest that a person would need to consume an impractically large amount, far beyond what could be ingested in a realistic scenario. And there are no recorded fatal overdoses. There are no documented cases of fatal cannabis overdoses. While high doses can lead to anxiety, some paranoia, or other unpleasant psychological effects, they are not life-threatening in the same way as overdoses from drugs like opioids or alcohol. Cannabis toxicity. The World Health Organization, WHO, has stated that cannabis is not associated with serious public health problems. This supports the idea that while adverse effects can occur, they do not typically lead to fatal outcomes. So in conclusion, cannabis research is ongoing, and while there are potential risks associated with its use, some of the stigma surrounding it stems from outdated or overstated concerns. It's important to rely on scientific studies and evolving data to form conclusions about cannabis, and advocacy for responsible use continues to grow as more research is conducted. Cannabis stigmas abolished. I've been Shiva Wilson, campaigning to legalise adult use cannabis in the UK. Subscribe if you want it legalised. Good night.